Okay, guys, so you may have the birds flying like that, and for those of us who wants to take it a step further to have the wings flapping, I'm gonna attempt to do a quick tutorial on that. I'm gonna try and make it as very simple as possible. Okay, so alright, the first thing I want to do is I want to leave this bird on the path, but I also want to edit it. But I think it's going to be a little bit hard for me to edit this bird along the path. So a neat trick that you can do to be able to edit but not have to worry about the orientation of the model is to create an instance, basically to clone the model. So I'm going to clone this model, right click, and I can choose clone, and I want to clone an instance, and I want to call this probably Dove for animation. Alright, so now it's cloned. So you see I have two birds. If I try to move it, it is attached to the path, and that is because we put a path constraint to it. So I want to remove this path constraint. So I want to click on the bird and then go to my motion panel, and I want to remove this path constraint here. Delete. So now the bird is not constrained anymore, and it's back to here. Now the great thing about this is the birds are still instance. And what do I mean by that? I could click on this bird here. I could go to modify. We see that it is an editable mesh. We could change the polygons for this editable mesh, and the bird along the path would change as well. So that's what I mean by its instance. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to get a little bit more editing options. So let us change the bird object to an editable poly. So we're going to click this drop down box here, change it to editable poly. So now we have an editable poly modifier on this bird. Editable poly gives me a little bit more freedom in modifying vertex and polygons and editable mesh. Right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to select a couple polygons here. So we're going to actually manipulate these individual points. Don't be scared, it's not as hard as you think. And we're going to record while we are modifying it. So let's see how well we can simulate wings that are flapping. Okay, now anything you do that you want to simulate in real life, you want to always look for a reference. So I type wind cycle, wingbird cycle in Google, found a nice little video. You can just type this title, what you see here, fly cycle guide, and hopefully you come up with this video. And this just gives a quick. Okay guys, so I've created a quick idea of how to angle the wings at each point, right? So we can use this as a quick little reference image here, and I'll show you how to do that real quickly. So if I watch this video here, this is basically talking about how to angle the wings. The wings supposed to be forward coming up and leveled coming down, and this is actually an animation artist, and this is how they would this is what they would use to guide their drawings, and they give a quick example of that here. You can see it's following the motion there, the wind. So that's pretty cool. So in order to do that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna just grab this nice little guide, because this is a great guide here, and I'm gonna use my snip tool. So I'm gonna press Windows key and type snip. my snip tool will come up, and this is my snip tool here. It comes with every version of Windows. You might be familiar with it. So I'm going to snip this picture here like that. That's a good guide. Maybe snip it without the bat in the background. Yeah, like that. So let me do that again. Snip, and I want to snip this like that. I'm gonna save it, and for now I'm just gonna save it to my desktop. Fly cycle. Close that, and now it's time for the good part. So I'm gonna change this to a front view like that, and I am gonna, so this is my instance bird, so I'm gonna carry this bird over here wherever. Just gonna get it out of the way, or maybe what I'll do is just isolate it. So right click and isolate selection, so I just have this bird to deal with. And then I want to change my background, my viewport background. So I'm gonna grab that picture that I just saved, and when I isolate this, I want to just create a plane. So I go to create, I go to geometry, create a plane, and what this is going to be is it's going to be a quick guide for me to know where to put the wing positions. Now when I create this plane, I want to just browse to the location that I saved my guide, which was on my desktop. So if I have my desktop here, here's my guide. I just want to pull it and drag it to this plane. Now once you do that, then I would quickly just go to modify and uncheck real world map size, and that will get it to look exactly like what I want. So essentially, if I orbit this, so this is what I will get. So you can see this is kind of my guide where it has the location of my bird, and let's go to front view here. This is the positions that the wings should be at. Alright, so now remember, anything I do to this bird, it will happen to the other bird. So that is pretty cool because they're instance. So first we want to go up on the blue, and then go to the green, and then down on the red. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can kind of see how it's numbered. Now to do that, now we're gonna grab so to get these wings to move, what we're gonna do is use a modifier, another modifier. So we're gonna add a modifier called FFD box, and FFD stands for Freeform Deformer. So we're gonna click on the FFD box, and what this does, it allows you to deform the model based on these points. So for example, if I just initiated it by clicking on it, I would be able to move these points around and the model would move. So of course I just want the wings to move. So what I would do is click this little drop down box here, and I want to choose lattice. So I want to move this control box now. When I choose lattice, I'm able to move the box without affecting the model, and I want to place the box just over this wing here. So I'll go now to scale, and I'll scale it, go back to move. So, and basically I want to get this FFD box, let me rotate it a bit there, and Let me scale it a bit. Now, point to note, if I rotate it and want to scale, notice that the scale icon is straight and object is lean. So I'm going to want to do that locally to the box. What do I mean locally? Go up here to view and change it to local. So now notice that the scale icon is aligned to the box. So when I scale it, it scales based on the rotation of the box. I'm going to go to move and move it about there. Just a little more scale. And I think that should do it. Now I want to just keep, I don't want to affect the body of the bird, just the wing. So I want to keep this like here. That's a good position, I think. Alright, so next we want to edit the amount of control points here. Okay, well, let's just finish this scale. I want to scale it down a bit because we only want to be within the region of the wing. There we go. So the wing is within this box. Maybe I could get it a little neater. Let me turn off the angle snap so I can rotate this more freely. And use my move tool. Yeah, I think that's about it. Alright, now we want to change the number of control points. So we are going to change the width segments. We're going to change the width segments to maybe about 5 points, and we want to change the height segments to 2. So it'll be just the top and bottom, and we want to change the length to 2. We only really want the width, so we click OK, and notice that we have no segments for the width. So let's go switch this back to control points now, and now we're able to move the wing, and we don't have to move it based on these little polygon points here. Instead, we'll use the FFD to do our bidding. Okay, so let's put this down to position 1. I hope these control points will be enough. So we're going to just move these down and move that up. Move this down. Remember, we're doing this for the purpose of animating the wings, and we're going to move this down like that. So the next thing we want to do is probably, you know, kind of angle this like that so that it doesn't look too weird. There we go. Oops. Let's undo that a bit. We have to remember that we are working in 3 dimensions, so we actually have a control point in front and we have a control point in the back. Alright, so we can't just move the front ones alone. So let me go back to front view. We need to draw a box around this point here if we want to move it, so that we move both the front and back. Here, draw a box around here. Let's move this down. Let's move this like this. I hope this wing flap comes out great. I want to move this like that, you know, because it's a little bit skewed. I want to keep the body of the wings. Let's move these 2 points down like that. So I think this should about do it for 1. We have 8 more to go. Well, this isn't so bad. Alright. Okay, let's make this one a little fat. Yeah, this one might be a little weird, but there we go. Alright, so this is wing position 1. Make sure that your key filters is set to all, and we set key. Alright, that's position 1. Now let's go to position 2. So I'm going to probably carry it to about 50 frames. I'm not quite sure of this yet. So for position 2 now, we moving this up. Remember, you gotta select the front and back vertices. That's why I'm drawing boxes around them and I'm not just clicking them, right? Let's change the selection mode to close polyline, so that way we can just draw that. Becomes a bit easier. Alright, let's select this point here, like that. There's actually a little dip here. I want to capture this little dip, so this kind of goes down, and this would be a little bit closer, and it goes up like that. So there's this little dip that is here, like that. And the rest of it now is pretty straightforward. Let's put that there. Let's move this up, and let's move this there. Okay, let's open out this little bit. Yeah, alright. So that is position 2. So move to position, so you can see that, you know, it's gonna animate for us. So hopefully this would come out nice. So let's move up to position 3. So for position 3 now, so I want to move this up here. Let's widen this out like that, and let's fix that. Let's select these. And let's move this up. And let's move this up and move this up. There we go. Make checkpoint. Make keyframe. Then position 4, that's this one here. Notice that we just need to move a few of them. Let's keep this thickness here, so we want to carry this one out a bit so that we keep that there. 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 And there. Alright. Alright, we're making progress. Next position is position 5. So now we've gone to the red markers now. Let's not make these twist. Let's switch back to the box. Box is a little bit easier to select. Yeah. Alright. Alright, and set key. And move to the next position. And that is position 6. So for position 6, let's angle this a little lower, and let's get this part here a little lower, and this part here. There we go. Let's grab these two. Yeah, that's about it. Take a frame. Let's go to the next position. I'm trying to keep these even for now. I can always move them. So we got 2 more left, and they're pretty similar. So the farther you get is the less work. So to move this down, Maybe keep the thickness of the wings. Move this down. Move that down. Might look a little weird when you move it at first, but when you line them up logically, it should look okay. Alright. So let's get this looking nice and curved. Alright. Then on to the next position. We got one more left after this. And it's getting more and more homogeneous. So less work to get it to line up. Let's carry the ends down first. Carry these two guys there. So then we gotta smooth it out a little bit. Alright. And set key, and then our final position. Let's move that there. Let's move that here. So we're basically moving and keyframing, moving and keyframing. So this is something that you guys would have known how to do already from past lessons. It's just that we're now applying the same principle but to a modifier instead of an entire object. Alright, and this is the last one. So let's see how that looks. I hit play. Let's go back to the first and alright. Not too bad. Alright, so now let's speed it up. So we're gonna move these keyframes closer together. Let's try and keep them equal. Maybe it's still a little bit slow. Looks a little mechanical, but let's hope that it will work. Then of course we just gotta repeat these. So I select everything, hold shift and drag. Hold shift and drag. Alright, not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, I think it needs to be a little faster. There's a way we can get it to be faster. So first let's create a couple more copies first. So we're gonna hold shift and drag and shift and drag. Now you have about 500 frames of animation, so let us double up this wing animation. So I'm gonna put like 1,000. So we're gonna copy, we're gonna make sure that we fill up 1,000 of these. Right, so we're gonna make sure that we have a looping animation of just about 1,000. And there we go. So even when it goes out of the frame, it will probably still be flapping, but we just need to have enough flapping, so to speak. Alright, so great. Now we just need this to be a little bit faster. So one trick that you can use is actually going into the time settings, time configuration, and choose rescale time. So I could turn 1,000 frames and squash that to maybe a smaller figure, like 700, and it would now, oh sorry, I would need to do that to 700 frames, not 7,000. 700, right? So now everything is squashed, which would make it quicker. It could be maybe a little quicker. So let us further squash that to, like, I don't know, like 300, maybe 400. Let's play. Alright, that's a little bit better. Then we want to carry it back up, not rescaling the time, but increasing the length to 1,000. And then we got to copy these again. So I hold shift and drag. I'm going to copy all of these keyframes again. Alright, and if we hit play, there we go, we have a couple, we got a long time of flapping wings. Alright, great. Now the big question is, do I have to do everything I did here on the left side? And the answer to your question is, of course not. So we're going to use another modifier to shorten our work, to cut our work in half, literally. So first, as an editable poly, so in order to get both sides of the birds to be flapping, what you would need to do is we're going to add another modifier called we're going to add two actually. So the first modifier we want to add to the bird, so we want to click on the bird and add a slice modifier. And what the slice modifier does is remove either the top half or the bottom half of the slice plane. So we want to edit the slice plane, so we want to initiate it by clicking on it, go to rotate and rotate this slice plane. Let me undo that, use my angle snap so I can rotate it and it snaps to 90 degrees. So now I only have half the bird. Now to get back my other half of the bird, I want to mirror this side, and no, we're not going to use the mirror tool. We're going to use another modifier called mirror. No, called symmetry. There we go, called symmetry. There we go. And a couple of things. Firstly, with symmetry, we want to turn off weld. We don't want any welding to happen. And symmetry does what it says. It creates a symmetry. So if I hit play now, we got birds, bird wing flapping. I think the weird part is that the center of the bird remains still. I don't know. Let's see if we can get away with that. Okay, so that would end the tutorial for the bird. So now we can hide this box here. We can move our let's call it our puppet bird, and here we go. So now we have a much nicer bird that's actually flying. The bird has a bunch of keyframes here. And if we wanted this keyframe to be longer, in this case, the keyframe, let's say, goes up to 800. So I'm gonna change my length to 800. And if we wanted more, then what we would do is maybe rescale the time to like 1500. There we go. So if I hit play, it slows everything down though. Everything down. So you can see the wings are going to be flapping to 1500. Okay. So let me undo that a bit. Okay, so that's our animation of the bird flying. There's one thing though. The bird, my bird, is moving a bit quick on this path. So if I wanted to slow him down, I would need to find the start and end keyframe. Now, as you can see here, this is a medley of keyframes that was used to key the different positions of the wings. So our start and end keyframe is actually lost in all of these frames here that's been used by the wings. Okay, so hence we might have to go into a little bit of apparently looking technical things. It looks technical, but it's not really. We're going to go into our graph editor. So there's this little icon here. You click on that icon, this graph comes up. I can detach it. Let me detach it. So this graph here, it basically shows everything that you have animated. Now what you're looking for is on the objects, you see the dove, and per path constraint, on the path constraint I see percentage, and this is what we're looking for. So the bird flies from 0 and he reaches the end of the path by, I don't know, 100. So if you want to change the length of the path, because the keyframes are so crammed together, we can extract out only the percentage along the path and move this down like that. So now it will take 880 frames thereabout to reach from 0% along the path to 100%. So let's close this and see what we got. And if I hit play, there we go. So notice that it's moving much slower along the path. Now the great thing about this is that it is actually parametric. So I mean, you could go into modify here and you could actually change the path. You could actually change the path. There we go. And your camera view, oh, I guess that's the end of the flapping wing keyframes. Maybe we would want to, let's click on the keyframes here, end it when the wings are like that. Yeah, so we'd probably want to delete these keyframes here. Yeah, so when it flaps, it will kind of end like that. That's pretty cool. Okay, so that's basically the tutorial on creating a a bird. You can actually delete this instance bird if you want, or just hide it. And there you go, a flapping bird.